and it was such that we had special barracks and a special uh, NCO club that we could go to where the people were all cleared so we could talk
How
if
you
we got.
going, Blair?
G'day, Blair.
We've gone live too, by the way.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, I won't say too much more about what I was doing. So
Yeah, people won't believe it. The young kids today won't.
no,
Us that have been there and done that wondered how we ever got away with it. So how you doing, Blair?
He's got a dad.
Not too bad. I'm actually doing 2 lives at the same time.
Oh,
So if you see me doing this, I'm gonna keep muted. But
They have nothing to do with him.
multitasking.
The boy and his mother.
yeah, well, John B. He's live as well,
And
and
yeah.
he's gonna show me some stuff with scroll saw. So
great guy.
after he's done with that, then I'll jump off of his and be focused on here.
You know, they put him on
Right.
Make-A-Wish thing.
Yeah. Cheeky mongrel starts 1 to 5 minutes before mine starts. Come on now.
Sneaky
How am,
little
I
bugger.
meant, how, am I meant, how am I meant to join into his when I start my own? Need to think about it.
so Robo, all in all, how was your holidays?
What holiday? I had Christmas Day off. That was it.
So what are you turning in your shop now?
No, not at the moment. I'm putting a new tray on my little ute. It had a covered-in body before. I'm putting a tray on it now because a tray is more useful to me.
Uh,
Hello. Blair got shitty. He left us, Jay. Well, the past few days I've been organising timber and stuff for orders and stuff as well, so it doesn't really stop.
yeah, I had a change of meds and it threw my sleep cycle way off.
Oh, yeah.
Because the stuff I'm supposed to take at like after dinner makes me sleepy. And talked to the pharmacist, and he said, "So take it before you go to bed."
Yeah.
That isn't what the label says. After a meal. Well, just make sure you got something in your stomach,
Yeah.
or try it. And if it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it, whether you need something or not. But he says it gives some people indigestion on an empty stomach. So I haven't had a problem, though I've got some biscuits. If need be, I can have a couple of them, and that solves the problem. But I haven't had any yet. But that was his suggestion, but it kept screwing me up where about 8 o'clock our time, I'd just start getting sleepy and totally lose track of what was going on.
Yeah.
So what's Jay planning on making?
I have no idea. Looks like shavings at the moment.
Ah, so we're watching art happen.
Where are you, got a little mongrel? I got a blowfly in there. Geez, you're starting to take decent cuts, Joe. Woohoo!
Yeah. It's like he knows
What
what
was
he's
that?
doing.
I said
Huh?
you're starting to take decent cuts.
Oh,
Except he's still using his arms.
Yeah, instead of his body.
Yep.
I'm going to fix that in a couple of months. He's coming across here for a couple of days, so I'll get him on Henry where he's got to move his body.
Well, I find that a lot of the people that I've taught and have worked with that think they know everything, and once you think you know everything, you realize how little you do know, is that they don't keep their feet far enough apart.
Yeah, well, that's right.
I couldn't hear a word you said, Robbo, when I was turning. What'd you say?
I said, you're going to be over here in a couple of days and I'll teach you to move your body because I'll get you on Henry where you've got to move your body or you fall over.
Yeah.
Jay,
Just-
just out of interest, just
Yeah.
stop the lathe for a minute. Check that the lock pin of your tailstock is actually in the groove and not on just the shaft. The quill of the tailstock, yeah. Just make sure that the locking pin for that is in the groove at the back and not.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
Pretty
it? It just looks like it's out of line. That's all, and it's not being held because that'll actually tighten up on the on the quill itself, not in the groove.
No, it's going right in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you've lifted it a little bit, so I reckon it was actually on the outside of the quill, not in the groove. Yeah. All right.
I'll tell you a good fix for that, and I did it to one of my lathes a long time ago. It's one since I've given away, is that I simply drilled and tapped the other side of the tailstock, and I put a, what do they call it, a cap screw?
Yeah.
In. And at the same time, the bottom of it I had filed off. So it was round.
Yeah.
And that stayed permanent. And that rode in the groove, and my clamp didn't clamp in the groove, it clamped on the side of it then.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get off. Because I had an almost serious accident once when it started coming loose and rattling and scared the ever loving out of me.
And tell me, Jay, what are you going to make out of that?
I don't know. I'm having the CBFs, you know.
Yeah.
I was just going to do something small and fiddly and I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Just go so thin until the stem nearly breaks or something. Something like that.
Yep.
A practice piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, beads and coves with a skew.
Oh, you can't swear on my channel, Robbo.
What?
No, I have done them all right previously. You just like giving me shit. You mongrel. It's all right. It's a safe word, Dr. Bob. I can call him that and get away with it because he calls me it often enough. So.
It's said lovingly.
Yeah, ugh.
You still got a big industrial fan in there?
Yeah, I'm surprised you can't hear it, to be honest.
No, you can't.
Can you hear it? You can't at all, Robbo.
Nope.
No, not anything.
No, it's actually in the shed with me today because I've got a fly screen up, so it's right in the shed with me today. The fan. I thought it would have been a bit overbearing, but okay, if it's not.
Well, your body makes a good muffler.
Thank you. I think.
Well, it's an acoustic balance. I mean,
Yeah.
it's noise is
I don't
behind
care.
you.
Yeah, it can't go through my fat. That's all you have to say.
You said it. The polite way is a robust torso.
Yeah. Yes, I
No,
suppose that's.
I just call mine ballast. Stops me from being flicked over the lathe.
Nope, sorry. Can you just talk about something else now? I don't want to know. Don't need the visuals of things being flicked over lathes. Thanks. There's a lot of things that brings that back up, you know.
Yep.
It's not on. Hey, hang on a minute. Maybe I should take it away from there a bit.
That's probably a good idea, unless you sharpen the edge.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good idea. No. I'll cut myself.
Yes.
My first thought is, what will I do to myself?
You don't seem like a masochist.
No, I wouldn't do it intentionally, but I'm losing the elasticity in my skin, so when I get a cut, a lot more comes off than just the cut.
Yeah, I know that at my age. With all the pills I've been taking, that's been a side effect they keep saying is happening. I notice it now because if I get a mosquito bite and I scratch it hard, it'll scratch through the top of the epidermis, and it's not like a cut. It just seems to seep out the skin, the blood, if I do it in the wrong spot. And that's another pill to take to stop it.
You're not sleeping there, are you?
No. I'm concentrating on something, that's all.
All right then. All right.
I thought you were praying for him.
No, I'm facing the... Oh, actually, no, I am facing the right way. I'm facing east at the moment.
I was kind of impressed today. I got a message from Jameson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, wondering how I was doing, if I was sick or something. And I had mentioned a change in meds, and I've been falling asleep earlier than stuff like that, and commented. And he said he was concerned because he hadn't seen me.
Well, I must admit, I asked Joe this morning how you were going because hadn't seen you for a few days.
Well, it's falling to sleep at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And then the only problem is I'm so used to a fixed set of hours of sleep. So I was wide awake at 4 and couldn't go back to sleep. So I just had to change that. So that's why I called my pharmacist and asked him. He said, don't believe the bottle label. That's what the manufacturer, and that's what, when we hit the button to print the label, it puts it up.
Yep.
But as long as you have something on your stomach, that's all that matters. And if you forget and nothing happens, then it doesn't matter at all, does it?
Exactly.
But I always try to follow what the labels say, and I end up taking 19 pills during the day
Jeez. I thought
to
I was
keep
bad
me
with 7.
alive.
Up until 6 months ago, I used to take 2 tablets. Now I'm on 7 of them. And prior to that, it was 68 before I started. I was 68 before I started taking any tablets at all, except for headache occasionally.
Well, it gets weird. Well, being diabetic, I take metformin 3 times a day, and then lisinopril to counteract the damage that metformin does. You know, they got all these things that the pills are good for you, but this pill causes other problems that we know of. So you take this to counteract that problem, but you still need it,
Oh, that's
you
right.
know, as side effects. So I have 4 or 5 pills that I take care of side effects of other pills. So what have you been making today, Robo?
No, I've just been working on the truck this morning, that was all. Plus trying to sort out my broadband. Or my NBN. Hello, Amber. Or is it just the wind blowing the door?
I've got my sound muted. I don't know what you're hearing.
No, I thought I heard the shed door bang.
No.
I thought the wrecking crew was in.
You've been following our news?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of people here. That's where I was glued to yesterday.
I have never, well, no, I can't say that. I have never seen a political leader in the Western world incite so much hatred.
Well, Mussolini did it. Well, it's not Western.
Yeah.
So did
Oh,
Stalin,
yeah.
and so did Hitler. I mean, there's good examples, and it happens in China today.
Oh, I wouldn't
But
call
they do
China.
it. They do it so much behind the scenes. You just disappear.
Yeah. No, well, what I meant was, maybe I should have rephrased it, but in the modern Western world anyway, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, an hour ago, I just saw this pop up that Trump got on a national and said he condemned the supporters who had the riots and all that. Yeah. His party's falling apart. So many of his appointees have just told him where to put it.
Yeah. I think doesn't matter who gets elected, I think they are going to have massive problems trying to fix the problem.
Yes.
That's not gonna that's not gonna make a very nice tenon now, is it?
No.
The crack, I got it.
This end will go into the chuck, but with this length, it's going to make this end wobbly, isn't it?
I don't know.
All right.
Depends on what you're making. That's the whole point.
Oh, nothing. I told you, I was just doodling, just the thin
Oh,
bit of thin stem and maybe a cup in there. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm just worried the crack's going to get you and you'll split open and fly out towards you.
Oh, it's got super glue in it.
But that's really off center.
Because
That's
it
for
was a
sure.
wonky piece. It was more shaped like a banana, if anything. And I set it off center a little bit so that I wouldn't be turning it dead on the pith.
So now all the trick is to see how you get out of it and make something. That's the talent.
The talent's got his eyes closed and he's sleeping.
I'm not sleeping.
But
I'm working
also
on it.
knowing when to stop is also a talent. Well, Cindy's got another class coming up that I got registered for.
Oh yeah.
It's a waterfall bowl with a lid. And that's what she calls it, but it's basically the bowl itself, and you undercut it, and it's got looks like water coming over it because of the jagged edges that are nice and rounded, probably with sandpaper or something, and then she does a lid with a finial. That's coming up, I think, on the 20th. Yeah, we've got friends of mine that live in Alaska, Fairbanks, outside of Fairbanks, at North Pole, Alaska, which is a city. And they're freezing their tails off.
Yeah.
But Anchorage is worse than ever in Juneau because a record reported low pressure, worldwide record low pressure. It went through China and froze ponds and fountains and everything quick, just like the movie. And then it came, 24 hours later, it had moved more farther over, and it did a number on Japan, the lowest temperature in their recorded history. And it's headed towards Alaska. Low pressure. They didn't believe what it was in China. They thought it was faulty equipment. Japan they got thinking that when the weather people had snuck up, they showed it, and they thought China was kind of saying, well, it's bad. And they thought their equipment was bad too. No, it's the lowest low pressure in recorded history,
Jeez.
going across up through the Arctic Circle. Or it's below the Arctic Circle, but that's where it expects to end up. I had an unexpected present for Christmas.
Ah,
I got a check for $215
oh, very nice. Thank you very much.
from a banking error 2.5 years ago. And they caught it in an audit.
Geez, I would have thought banks would have done an audit more than every 2 years.
Well, they are supposed to, but under the present federal government here, a lot of that stuff has been allowed to be postponed, and overages, you don't have to, if you don't catch it, they don't have to pay it back, as if I'm an auditor. But it was interest that I was supposed to be making and never got it.
Ah,
And the account I signed up for, it gave me, without me knowing it, interest. And on what I had in my checking account, that was above and beyond what, I only spend so much of what I get because I got to keep it something as an emergency.
yeah.
And supposed to get interest in it. And that supposedly was the banks were told when our president took office and he put the head of banking in and changed it, that they didn't have to report it because that's money the bank can have as an income. And it's up to the customer to find the mistake.
Yes, that
I
sucks,
asked,
I reckon.
I asked, and they said, no, that's the new banking law because that's not the the type of account that you had. And I've had that account since I was in high school. And it defaulted back to the same rules that I had in high school. And it was, and all through the military and that. And the money's just been sitting in there and getting interest.
I had the same thing happen about 10 or 15 years ago, I suppose. A bank that I haven't dealt with for 25 or 30 years sent me a letter asking them to contact them. So I contacted them. They went through all the details and everything. What is a bank account? Our Commonwealth Bank out here used to have savings accounts with school children, and I used to put 10 cents a week in it, and I'd just completely forgotten about it. And got a nice bonus out of that after 30 odd years, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, I've had an account with this bank since it was a co-account with my parents, but it was while I was in elementary school also. And then when I went in the military, that's where I had half of my paycheck put so I could have it for savings later on when I got out of the military. And it's a national bank, so it was good
Yeah,
anyway. So I've had it. The bank has been bought out 4 or 5 times, and in doing so, name changes. But the accounts, once you have it, they got to keep it,
that's right.
you know. So
Hey, Joe, you could make Darth Vader with that.
yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I could do that. Oh, I just need. Oh, it's going to leave it spinning on the lathe all the time because then it looks like a bell. With a handle, like. But yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. That would fit in there quite nicely there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's got his little body with his skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has your other half been doing biography lately?
No, she's been rather demotivated and not doing anything other than sitting on her phone watching YouTube videos.
Enjoying the rest of the world. But I got a VPN account that I've had for a long time, and I can go in and pick what country I want to have as representing me for the VPN. So I've been bouncing around the world watching YouTube videos from different parts of the world and TV shows and that just don't get here. Or the Discovery Channel. You get a Discovery Channel. We get one, and Britain gets one. South
Yeah.
Africa gets a Discovery Channel, but they're all different. Same people own them. Same people out of England operate them all. It's just different programs.
Yep.
So I simply go online, say I live in Sydney all of a sudden, and connect there, and I can watch your Discovery Channel, or out of England, South Africa, and see the different programs.
Multicultural.
Yes, and I enjoy that. I like to see what other people do
That
and
makes
what
you a
they
very
find.
it makes you a very strange American, Bob, because most of them don't give a hoot about the rest of the world, funnily enough.
Yep.
Well, the rest of the world doesn't exist to most of them.
Well, I think it's mainly because we don't travel as much. If you get into Europe and that, here we're just used to taking off on a vacation and, let's drive. So it takes us 4 days to get where we want to go, across the country, or fly, or take a train, because I prefer trains. And you don't get to see other countries as easy. And it's
G'day.
also expensive to get to them, except Canada.
Yeah. G'day, Chris. How are you?
How you going, Chris?
I'm just going to disappear for about 5 minutes, Joe.
Yep.
Well, if you're wondering, so what are you making with your carbides?
No, nothing in particular. I was just gonna thin the end up there and maybe try and hollow in there a little bit more. But
Yeah. Well, I was asking Bailey here, Chris,
uh,
because he just got a new set for Christmas.
oh, lucky boy.
Ah, okay. Yeah, personally, I've got a bunch. I've got tools and I use them. The carbide sometimes, depending on what I'm cutting. But I cheat. I also have a CBN card for sharpening and keeping an edge on my tools. And I still touch up carbides just simply by flattening the top of them to put an edge back on them. It's not like the original, but that only lasts for a little bit. Well, carbides, I think I've got them, and I've got complete sets of carbides from 2 or 3 different manufacturers. I think that there's a time for them. My favorite, and I use carbides all the time for deep hollowing. And I find that I'll be working on a project and I'll come in at night and touch them up a bit, just keep the top flat. That keeps an edge on them easier. Don't touch the edges of the carbide, just sharpen the tops, the big flat parts of them.
Yeah, good day, Lewis.
How you going, Lewis?
I'll have to check out them simply wood turning. I wonder where they get their carbides. The person I go give them a pitch is Ron Campbell, uh, because Ron was a beta tester on tools that I've developed over the years. And of course, he's an internationally known artist, and he bought a carbide company out. And that's where I go and get mine all the time anymore. It's like tell him what I want, send him a picture, and in the midst of designing a new tool and ask him what he thinks. And send a picture of what I'm doing, and I get a couple of carbides to try to see how it works, because I've designed tools. But his teardrop is my favorite of all. Yes, he is. Yeah, the teardrop type tool, it's a flat carbide. And there's been several different shapes of them that are out there. I think the first I ever saw was purely steel, come from Sorby. And it was for a tool system that they had. I forget the name of it. You can lock a cutting angle right or left or off on center. Uh, I like it. It's used by quite a few turners in Europe, but I got one long, long time ago. And instead of the steel ones that I would get paying a fortune for to import, uh, I get a whole series of stuff that Ron has from AZ Carbide.
It's shaped like that, Chris. It's generally got a hole in about there, so you're going to attach it to a bar. It's just called a teardrop cutter.
Some have a slot,
Yeah,
instead of just a hole. I know from my hollowing system, I prefer the slot. And Ron sells them both. Yeah, the teardrop is nice because there's so many shapes and contours you can make based on the shape of the teardrop by simply rotating it. And when I'm hollowing and I want that shape inside of something, you just can't do it any other way. I'm sure Robo could, but to me, it's easier to do that.
no, I've only ever turned two hollow vessels.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up one now. Well, I finished hollowing and now I'm trying to get around to figuring how I want to do the outside.
Yeah.
Because I like character in it so that the outside isn't a full 360 round, because it's a flat spot that was in it that has a lot of texture from where this limb was growing up tight against another one. So I've been playing with some Christmas presents, some Josanya paints, and an airbrush that I've never used before.
Ah,
So,
who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks, eh?
yeah. But I'm sitting there trying to figure out, and I've got an old 2x4 that I've spun down and keep trying different techniques because I want something that's going to accent the part of the wood that was actually up against the other half of the bush
Yeah.
that this is from, because it's a big piece of wood. Technically, it's not a wood because it's a vine. Vine, you don't get wood from vines, but this thing had been growing for some 40 years. So it got pretty big, and I just liked to see what I could do to accent it. And because a lot of my stuff I do, I try to do that with. And now I'm going to try airbrushing. I got a regulator and to go with it, and a bunch of little bottles that were given to me that plug right into the airbrush, double action brush. I just been playing with it.
Well, that's the best way of learning with an airbrush.
Yep.
Unless,
And if I
unless
don't
you got
like it, I just put it on the lathe, spin it off, and it's just a 2x4.
Yeah.
Again.
no 4x2.
Yeah, I had.
No, I must admit, hollow vessels are just something that I've never really been interested in. So, as I said, I've only ever turned two. I turned one at a demonstration, and the other one I turned before the demonstration to make sure I didn't make an idiot of myself at the demonstration.
I gotta develop the whole line of hollowing stuff to do deep hollowing with. And Carter here in the States, Carter Industries or Carter Products. They're here in Michigan. They're a big bandsaw company. They go back bandsawing to when Michigan was logged the first time through in sawmill style. But I developed it, and that's how I got to meet Ron Campbell and a couple other turners that were the beta testers of the system that I developed.
G'day, Joy. How are you this afternoon?
How you going, Joy? Yeah, I'm making toothpicks today. You got it. Get on the money.
Practicing finials. Well, that's positive, Joy. The alternative isn't any good. That's the same answer I give when my doc calls me on a video call weekly. I'm still alive.
Wonder what you'd say if you'd said, no, sorry, he's not available, he's dead.
I'm gonna have to try that on him. Be Monday or Tuesday when he calls again. They just call to check up and see if I need prescriptions or got any other problems, and trying to schedule when they can get the COVID vaccine out for me. A bunch of us old farts that are been in the high risk area. They send nurses around to your house to give it the shot to you.
Yeah. See you later, Lewis. Have fun.
See you later, Lewis. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
How you going?
There's
Blair,
the big D.
Blair's Blacks. Oh, he's not. He's in here now. Oh, you finished with John, have you?
he has answered my questions, and so I think Monday I may shift gears a little bit, and I've got my scroll saw and all that set up, and we'll have a live where I'm not shaking in my boots.
What type of questions did you have? Which way the blade goes?
No, I know which way the blade goes, especially if it's a spiral. You know,
It just goes up and down.
you know, there's a lot of tricks now on how to mount the patterns on the wood and stuff like that. And he was just explaining all of that kind of stuff, the easy way to do stuff, and how to prepare your wood and where to get your blades and where to get, patterns and stuff like that. So it was a kindergarten lesson.
Ah,
Yeah, scroll sawing 101.
'Twas, and it was much appreciated. Thank
So
you, John B., if you watch this.
Basically, the lesson that I asked to be involved with, and he did it exactly the same time over live. It's like, yeah, right.
So Jay, what are you making?
Ask Joy if she knows.
I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah. Why do people say old farts? I don't know. I'll look it up. I'm sure Google will have an answer.
well, come on. You haven't reached that stage yet. Elderly people, I know because of my father and a few other vets that when I could get out, I'd go visit to keep them, spend a day listening to their jokes or half a day and have lunch with them, is that they can't control their flatulism.
There you go. That's how thin I got it. Before it broke.
Very good, Jay.
I thought you were doing a finial.
No.
So did Jay get a new light?
Oh no, I've had it for ages. It's what I take my finishing pieces photos with, and I just thought I'd bring it outside because I was going to do some finer work today. Just thought I'd have it a bit closer than my normal light's bolted to my roof, and I can't pull it down or anything. So, yeah, no, it's not bad. It does the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice ring light.
Yeah, it's got different colors. You can turn it down.
That's one of those video selfie lights, isn't it?
Yeah,
I see them advertised.
it's called Illuminate Me is what the brand is called.
It sounds so creative.
Yeah.
It's probably different, pronounced differently in Chinese, and that's how the translation is.
It still might be not the right translation, to be honest.
Well, Chris, the definition of an old fart is someone who is boring and old-fashioned. And that pretty well sums me up, I think.
I wouldn't say that. I've met some more boring old farts than you.
Well, I was told you're as old as you feel and as young as you act.
As young as you touch. Yeah, I like that. If you're young as you touch, then that makes pretty good for me because my wife's 8 years younger than me.
Ah, you like them young. You steal them from the crib.
Train them up, you see.
Dirty old man.
Hey, look. It come out of my mouth clean. It just went into your mind dirty, all right?
That still looks like
saying.
Darth Vader with a crazy hat. There was a
Yeah.
cartoon character years ago that looked like that.
Yeah, so there's Darth Vader without his face, all right, and his dress. I don't know what it is.
Well, you could never see Darth Vader's face because it was black. It was just like that, dark. His shield he looked through.
Yeah, he's a bit woody today. He's barking mad. Oh,
That's a good one.
that's bad. What are you on about? Look at Robbo shaking his head.
Okay, here's an Aussie question for you.
Yeah.
Is an Oreo considered a biscuit,
Yes. Yes, it is.
or is it just an Oreo?
Oreo biscuit. There,
Yeah.
if it's got cream in the middle, it's a biscuit. Yeah.
It falls into the category of biscuits out here.
Yeah.
Not cookies, biscuits.
Yep, that's something I do remember from Nam. From the Aussies I knew then. We go around in circles over what they were. And it was always done in fun. Because you remember, both sides had guns. But the Aussies knew how to use their knives far better than us Yanks were ever taught. Maybe our Rangers did. Yes, I agree. I wouldn't want to dip an Oreo in a tea.
Oh well, no, I do. If we
Whoa.
ever have them, I put them in tea.
Yeah, we
Because-
dip our biscuits in our tea and coffee. Yum.
We call it dunking.
Yeah. And if you do it for too long, you end up with the biscuit in the bottom, and you have to scoop. You have to
Oh,
either scoop
yeah.
it out with a spoon.
And that's
That's
yucky.
universal.
Yeah, that's just going too far.
Now, see, I get that if you've got like a biscotti or something like that in your coffee, but in tea,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, Chris. Well, what's this milk business? What do you need that for?
Yeah. No, well, they don't soften enough in milk anyway. It's got to be warm so that it penetrates the crust of the biscuit. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a
So
black.
tea's good.
Sounds like hardtack. God, I remember that from rations.
You know something, Bob?
Survival rations.
I loved our biscuits in the ration packs.
Yeah, I liked yours too. Not
You could
ours.
crush them up, mix them with water and have porridge. You could put them on the sole of your boot to keep your boot waterproof if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And if you had enough of them, you could lay a tank track, I tell you.
That's hardtack.
Are you talking about the bush biscuits? What are they? Is that what they're called?
No, they were the army ration biscuits. Hard as a hobs of hell they were.
Bailey's asking, ever had Stroop waffles? I don't know what that is.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, my Oreos, I'll tell you, Bailey, always go to milk. I got some here. The only problem is being diabetic. They do not make a diabetic Oreo. I always got to take the good stuff out before I can eat them. Then the teens want them, and I won't give it to them. It makes them too hyper. All that sugar.
Yeah, Stroop waffles are from Holland. That's it.
I know I've heard of them.
They're made from brown sugar, molasses, cinnamon, egg, and active dry yeast. So
Almost sounds Swiss or German.
yeah, no, they're Dutch. Yeah.
No.
So I'm going to bring this up just because it's on the really weird side. I happened to see a news article about a new kids show that is over in shoot, it's like Holland or somewhere around there, about a guy, and mind you, I said kids show, who does all sorts of things with his Johnson. And I'm not kidding. And I actually watched one of the things, and I'm going, why? Why would you ever?
Yes.
It was just so bizarre.
Oh.
Mental.
I've seen that somewhere, and I can't remember where I saw it. But I didn't think it was a kids show. I thought it was an adult thing.
No, they spun it as a kids thing because, I mean, they have him, lighting barbecues and saving children with it. And yeah, it's. I think the world has gone too far.
Oh, went too far 20 years ago.
And we survived it, didn't we, Robbo?
Yeah, but no, I can't say on a live what I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Where did Jay go?
I probably stepped out of the shed to get cool.
Oh, is it roasting in there again?
Yep.
Well
It's only
over
gonna get worse.
100. It's well over 100 our temperature, 120, and it pinned it at what looked like at 120.
Oh yeah, he shouldn't even be in there.
We're tough out here.
We got skins of iron. No, that's just too hot.
Yeah, but if you live in the climate, you have to get used to it or move.
Oh, Jay, what are you doing, buddy?
Losing weight through perspiration. It's a sauna.
Jay's weight loss program live.
Actually, he went out there for a dip in the ice pool. Like the Swedes do. Out of the sauna into the ice pool.
I went outside to do that.
Good stuff. I use it too.
Yeah. Now, I had no intention on doing a 2-hour, 3-hour live today, Blair. It was only going to be an hour or more, and it's clicked over an hour now. So,
Yeah.
I was going to say, buddy, you really should maybe step out and.
Yeah, I've got this Hydrolite, and to be honest, I don't really feel the heat. I know I shouldn't be out here, but I don't really feel the heat that much when I've got this. So, but yeah, in saying that, I am going to knock it on the head soon, very soon.
Yeah. But I can understand that completely. And Robo would never have noticed it because that's the way he was brought up too. But when we were in Southeast Asia, but we didn't know each other, but we were there about the same times. So I know what the weather was like. And for me, a little old Michigander who came from winter snow, through summer in Southeast
Ew.
Asia when it was
Snowflake.
110, 115 degrees and the humidity. Well, you were always wet from perspiration because us. But the locals, they were their whole systems were accustomed to it. They didn't
Yep.
perspire like we did, and that's one reason we lost the war in the Vietnam era. And I totally believe it because we perspired, we wore uniforms, there was bacteria that grew, and the enemy could smell us. Whereas the
Yep.
indigenous didn't have that problem.
No, yeah, I must admit the heat never worried me too much over there.
No, because you come from a climate like that. And I come from, when I went over, it was Christmas. When I left Michigan to go over, we had like a foot of snow on the ground. And I'd been outside with my brother and sister playing in the snow with them and pulling them around in sleds and up to the toboggan hill, drag her up on a toboggan so she could go down by herself. But and then end up with the temperatures were 90 was a cool evening, and the
Yeah.
humidity was ridiculous in the jungle. And they wouldn't let us wear deodorant because they could smell us farther away. So after a while, you get used to everybody's BO. You just didn't notice it anymore.
A few years ago, my wife and I were in Fremantle. There's a big maritime museum in Fremantle. And one of the exhibits there is one of the O-class submarines that the Australian Navy used to have. And they do tours of it. And, of course, all the tour party there, she said, oh, it's confined in there, it's this and that. And he said, yeah, well, just think about what life was like on there. There was no water to wash or anything. The whole crew never washed, basically, in the time they were out. The only person that was allowed to wash was the cook. He was the only one allowed to have a shower. Oh, Jesus. I said, no, man, I feel sorry for the cook because he was the only one that smelled any good. But everybody got used to it.
Yep, you do.
Like I used to go out, I used to work in the outback, and sometimes I'd come back in, I had 40 gallons of water and 40 gallons of diesel on the back of the ute I had to use. And water was for drinking only, or washing your face and your hands, never washed the rest of you. And sometimes I'd be out there for a month or so, and I'd come into the office in Townsville, and my boss used to work behind a partition off the main foyer. He'd say, oh, Robbo's just come in. Robbo, get down to the hotel and burn your bloody clothes. There's a new set waiting down there for you.
Yeah, people do acclimatize. I mean, but it's not something that happens in a year or two.
Oh, no.
And they say it's somewhat genetic because I've got relatives that I have, as a kid, I knew who they were, but never had a chance to meet them. And they were from Yukon. They had settled there. Their family come over from England. They were Elliots, and they had come over and migrated there. And they were so used to the cold, they would be outside, in the cold weather all the time, and I'd be freezing.
That's really nice, Jay.
Yeah, you did that the other night, didn't you? Unmute yourself, Jay. We can't hear you.
I did it, yeah. No, I had it on a different screen. I just polished it today. I finished. I did this last week, and it only went down to about there because I was a bit worried about the cracks, and I didn't have any super glue or anything like that. So
Yes,
I
I
bought
remember
super glue
that.
yesterday, and I finished it off. I just can't touch the sides because it's a bit wet still.
It's gorgeous. I love the twist in it.
And
That character.
I think that's really kind of cool. I mean, I don't remember who said it, but if you put one of those tea lights in there that's like
Yeah.
battery powered, that would be really cool.
I'll see if I can get the my selfie light to sit in it. Selfie light that never gets used as a selfie light.
So, did you get any tools for Christmas, Jay?
No. You can't even really see that.
No, it doesn't.
No,
come on.
not really.
There it is. That's
Kinda.
neat.
One big one. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just
Too
just
bright.
move it back from the camera a bit, Joe.
There you go. No, that's cool.
Yeah. A little tea light would increase the resale value of that probably by tenfold.
Yes.
Because sometimes you just got to tell people, I designed it that way, see?
Yes. That was there. Yeah.
But if you don't supply the tea light, they won't believe you. And if you
Yeah.
get one of those more expensive tea lights, like around here for the $2 ones, they're color changing LEDs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Some people like that, and some people don't.
Yeah, those that like it,
I
they
like
can't
the
buy
coloured
it.
flashing. Yeah. I like the coloured flashing lights, and Amber doesn't. So, I need to make another one exactly the same.
You can call it a meditation lamp then.
Yes.
Put a little tea light in it.
Stinking.
Back-
Yeah, sit
One of my
around and go,
Yeah. One of my students years ago did something like that, and they actually cut the slots in it and all, and they thought originally they balanced it so they left the point for the tool in there so they could balance it on a stick and put it outside so the wind might spin it. But it didn't work because you had to have a heck of a wind, and when you did, it was enough to throw it, pick it up off the stick. So what they did is they put a multicolored LED lamp in it, and they sold it for like $45, and it was a piece of junk.
Jeez. That's really nice too, Jay.
Oh yeah,
I like
the
it.
shape is nice. The natural
Yes.
edge.
Something a bit different with a foot and stuff, and yeah.
Oh, you got a firework on the side. Look at that. You can see it going up in the sky and bursting.
Yep.
That is.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
Look like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the splits that were in it that vibrated themselves loose after a while.
Yeah.
And this one here, you can see through that, and that wasn't see-through when I started. That just vibrated itself loose.
But that's what gives it character. It's one of a
Yeah.
kind. It's not mass production like Robo. His is mass production.
Oh no, you can never compare mine to Robo.
No, he
I
does.
said Robo.
You get different styles. To me, I have the wood tells me what it wants to be.
I'm with you, Dr. Bob. A lot of times mine, I have no idea, and it will just work its way, whatever.
My wood calls me bad names, so I try not to listen to it. It's pretty rude.
Well, when you start talking to your wood, you
The Aussie wood can be pretty rude. That's a good
Well,
camera.
when the wood, unfortunately, when the wood starts talking to me, I'm going to give the game away. I'm the one with a chisel in my hand, so it does as told.
How you going,
No.
Eva?
G'day, Eva.
Robo,
Hi, Eva.
yeah, hi there. What, Robo? You got it wrong. When you start talking back to the wood is when you need to give it up.
No, I quite often talk to it. What the hell did you do that for, you mongrel?
You pass the blame.
Yeah, I usually swear at mine too.
No, I got enough voices in my head talking to me anyway, so.
Yeah, it's kind of bad timing, Eva. Really, I'm gonna kill it in a minute.
You'll have to come earlier tomorrow.
Oh, it's probably early in the morning for Eva.
Yeah.
What's the temperature in Adelaide tomorrow? Oh my God, it's not listening.
No, it's probably down the swimming pool.
It's not listening. It's trying to send me to some bloody site now.
Alexa, what will the temperature be
going
in
to be
Adelaide,
in
Australia
Adelaide?
tomorrow?
Wait on, everybody was talking at once. Yeah.
Right now, it is sunny and 32 in Adelaide, South Australia.
You lie,
The
32.
forecast shows sun with a high 32 and a low of 20 degrees.
You lie, lady. It says bloody 36 here. Full of shit.
Well, I was just told it's going to be 39 tomorrow
Yep.
in Adelaide.
See you later, Chris.
Thanks for coming in, Chris. Yeah, if it's going to be like, if it's going to be over 35, I'll definitely be doing a morning one here, like 3 or 4 hours earlier.
Well, I'll be here.
I will not. I'll be at work.
Friday,
But that's
Friday
okay.
is our
I'll
group
still
out
send
of
the
Europe,
invite.
AWDG meeting.
All right. I've got to go and get something. I've got to go and do some other things as well. So,
All right. Thanks for
All right.
coming in.
see you later, everybody.
Gentlemen,
I gotta get going too.
I will see you guys later.
No worries. Thank you.
Go
Take
cool
care.
off, man. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
See you later, Dr. Bob. Thanks for coming in. Bye. See you later, Eva. Bad timing. Sorry.